Former White House advisor, longtime ally of former President Trump, Steve Bannon, has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of Congress. Bannon was convicted of 2 counts of contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena from the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. ABC News Justice Department reporter Alex Mallon joining me now on the phone for more. So, Alex, how did we get here, and how significant are these charges?
Well, we got here because Steve Bannon just outright defied a subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee investigating the attack on the Capitol, a subpoena for his testimony and any records related to his involvement in the planning and any communications that he may have had with President Trump and his allies leading up to the attack. And because Steve Bannon defied that subpoena, the Congress voted to hold him in contempt, and the Justice Department made the rare move of filing charges against him, 2 criminal contempt of Congress charges. And they did not take that step when the House voted to hold the Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in contempt or President Trump's social media advisor Dan Scavino. But in the case of Bannon, because his defiance was just outright, I will not cooperate in any form or fashion with this committee, they moved to press charges. So the trial actually moved pretty quickly. He was found guilty on both charges. And today, Judge Carl Nichols did sentence him to 4 months in prison and is ordering him to pay a $6,500 fine. Now, that fine is on the very low end of what DOJ was asking for him to pay. DOJ actually wanted 6 months in prison for him and for him to pay a $200,000 fine. So Judge Carl Nichols here, he is staying the sentence, meaning Bannon is not going to have to report to prison. Today, he's basically saying he's going to let Bannon try and move this up on appeal. He said that he wants that appeal to be timely, though. So it's unclear when exactly we will see Bannon to report to prison. And he has a chance. Judge Carl Nichols has kind of noted that he believes that Bannon has a potential chance to overturn his conviction entirely upon appeal. So, again, it's just we're going to have to now see where this goes once Bannon's attorneys formally move this up to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. But this is a significant moment because this, as the January 6th committee has tried to make clear, they take this investigation extremely seriously, and they think that their subpoena power needs to be respected. And that is kind of the point I think that they are now looking to make as they move towards formally giving a subpoena to former President Donald Trump. The clock is ticking on that, obviously, and it's unclear whether they would be able to move for a formal contempt citation for him if he decides to completely defy them, and whether the Justice Department would eventually act on that subpoena.
So, Alex, just take us back in time, if you don't mind, and make a distinction for us. So what about if people are just hearing this headline and they think, wait a second, when President Trump was president, he pardoned Bannon. So how is Bannon being sent to jail, or given the sentence that came down?
So yeah, President Trump's pardon of Bannon was obviously before he left office, before the January 6th attack, or it was actually after the January 6th attack, but that was over criminal charges that Bannon was facing in the Southern District of New York related to a scam of President Trump's own supporters. Bannon and associates mounted this crowdfunding campaign called We Build the Wall. And basically, he was accused by prosecutors of bilking Trump's own supporters to donate funds to this Build the Wall campaign that he then used for personal expenses, to personally enrich himself. And those were very serious charges. Bannon faced years in prison if he was found guilty. But in the middle of that case, President Trump did pardon him. So that threw that entire case out. Now, mind you, Bannon is actually facing now state charges in New York related to that fundraising scam. He's pleaded not guilty, so it's unclear where that case will go. Again, those charges are much more serious in the form of fraud than contempt of Congress, which is a rarely used statute. DOJ rarely prosecutes it because it's basically a slippery slope argument in terms of when when Congress decides to subpoena somebody and somebody defies that subpoena, they don't want to get into the business of having to do Congress's work for them, their legwork of trying to pull people in front of them, especially when you're looking at potentially a House that is going to be taken over by Republicans come November. And if, committees that are Republican then start to subpoena members of President Biden's cabinet or members of President Biden's administration, and they, don't want to cooperate, DOJ had to walk a really fine line here. And that's why I guess, we didn't see them indict Mark Meadows or Dan Scavino, even though they offered some limited cooperation with the January 6th Select Committee. So that was the line I think DOJ tried to draw here. If you just outright defy a subpoena from Congress, they will indict. But if you provide some limited cooperation, that will be taken under consideration by prosecutors.
But Alex, I heard what you said, which stuck out in my mind, which is that this for Bannon, this 4 months today may increase some pressure on the former president to answer the subpoena, although some people say that will never in a million years happen. But we will watch it. Thank you for pointing that out, Alex. Grateful to you for that.
Yeah, I think, we'll obviously be watching to see what kind of deadlines the committee now sets for when they do finally serve President Trump with this subpoena. Because, if you're looking at the House flipping, the likely chances of the House flipping in November, he has a really good case to just kind of run out the clock. If he just decides to have his lawyers communicate, that might be enough to escape any charges of contempt of Congress.
Yeah, and his lawyers probably don't want him to answer that subpoena. Alex Mellon, thank you. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.